A domestic shooting in Cherokee County has left a mother dead and her husband behind bars. The deadly shooting happened on Dave Tri Crossing in unincorporated Woodstock.
Everybody who knew her called her Nisha. She was a mother of two, the woman who kept her family fed, kept her babies safe, and kept hoping that someday the man who made her wear a Bluetooth tracker would just stop. July 13th, 2025, Woodstock, Georgia. While most families were winding down their Sunday night, Tenisha Williams was being forced to load the gun that would execute her on her own kitchen floor. And the last voice she'd hear, her 16-year-old son whispering into a 911 call from the bedroom next door. The way that boy survived and what his stepfather did while police rushed to save him will stay with you long after this video ends. Watch, share, keep her name alive. Welcome to Midnightcasefiles. I'm your narrator. Before we begin, I need you to understand something. This isn't just a murder case. This is a masterclass in coercive control, in what happens when technology meets domestic terrorism, and in how a suburban kitchen in Cherokee County became an execution chamber. Kelvin Demond Williams didn't just marry Tenisha, he consumed her. According to Deputy Chief Assistant District Attorney Rachel Ash, who would later lay out the horrifying pattern in court, Kelvin engaged in what experts call digital coercive control, a modern form of domestic slavery that's invisible to outsiders, but absolutely suffocating to the victim. He made Tenisha wear a Bluetooth device. Let that sink in, a tracker, like you'd put on a pet or a car. Every time she left the house to get groceries, to visit family, to breathe fresh air, he knew exactly where she was. He monitored her movements in real time. He could call her and demand to know why she was somewhere he didn't approve of. This isn't love. This is surveillance. This is imprisonment without walls. And it worked. Tenisha became isolated, cut off from friends, cut off from family, cut off from anyone who might tell her, "This isn't normal. This isn't okay. You need to leave." Because that's how coercive control functions. It eliminates every escape route until the victim is completely dependent on their abuser. Tenisha had two children living in that house. Her 16-year-old son from a previous relationship, a bright, protective teenager who we'll hear from soon, and a 4-year-old little boy, Kelvin's biological child, who was too young to understand that his father was a predator and his mother was dying by inches. July 13th, 2025, a Sunday. In many homes, that means church or dinner or family time. In the Williams home, it meant preparation for murder. Here's the detail that will haunt me forever. On the day he killed her, Kelvin Williams forced Tenisha to purchase the gun. He made her go to the store. He made her pick it out. He made her pay for it. And then, in the ultimate act of psychological torture, he made her load it. Think about what that does to a person. Tenisha had to handle the weapon that would end her life. She had to put the bullets in the magazine. She had to know on some level what he was planning. But after years of control, after years of being tracked and monitored and broken down, what could she do? She was trapped, and she knew it. That evening, the tension exploded. We don't know exactly what triggered it. Maybe Tenisha finally pushed back. Maybe the 16-year-old stood up to his stepfather. Maybe Kelvin just decided it was time. But at 10:40 p.m., the facade of suburban normalcy shattered forever. The 16-year-old boy, whose name we're protecting, was in his bedroom when he heard the confrontation escalate. He was old enough to understand what his stepfather was capable of. He was smart enough to grab his phone, and he was brave enough to hide and whisper for help. While that boy whispered into the phone, while he tried to save his own life and his mother's, Kelvin Williams was in the kitchen, standing over Tenisha's body, pulling the trigger again and again. 5 shots total, 2 for the son who miraculously survived, 3 for Tenisha who didn't. Execution style, in the place where she cooked Sunday dinners, where she helped her 4-year-old with breakfast, where she probably dreamed of someday being free. When Cherokee County Sheriff's deputies arrived at 10:40 p.m., they found something that disturbed even veteran officers. Kelvin Williams wasn't running. He wasn't hiding. He wasn't even emotional. He was standing in the doorway of the garage, smoking a cigarette as calmly as if he'd just finished mowing the lawn. Inside, his wife was dead on the kitchen floor. His 16-year-old stepson was hiding in terror, having just been shot at. His 4-year-old biological son was asleep in a bedroom just feet from the murder scene. And Kelvin Williams? He was having a smoke break. The deputies arrested him without incident. They found the murder weapon on the kitchen island right where Williams had left it, like a trophy. They found Tenisha, 48 years old, gone forever. And they found that 4-year-old boy still sleeping, innocent of the fact that his father had just made him an orphan. The case against Kelvin Williams was overwhelming. The prosecution introduced approximately 150 exhibits, but there was one piece of evidence that made this case airtight: the security camera footage. Yes, Williams had cameras in his own home, part of his surveillance state, part of his control, and those cameras recorded everything. The video shows the argument. It shows Williams firing at the 16-year-old boy first, attempting to murder a child. It shows him turning the gun on Tenisha. It shows him firing 3 times into her body, and then, in a moment of pure evil, "You dead," those 2 words. That's what he said to the woman he'd forced to buy the gun, to load the gun, to wear a tracker like property. "You dead?" Not crying, not panicking, just checking his work, confirming that his property had been successfully disposed of.
A domestic shooting in Cherokee County has left a mother dead and her husband behind bars. The deadly shooting happened on Dave Tri Crossing in unincorporated Woodstock. Fox 5's Angelique Proctor joins us from the scene with more of the disturbing details in this case. Angelique.
Yeah, good afternoon, Christine. Neighbors tell me they are just stunned by this development. They say they just didn't see it coming. They described the suspect in this case as having several strokes, and they say he could barely get around.
All that we know, it was some type of domestic dispute, and he, at that point, the suspect, Brendan, pulled out a weapon and started firing.
Even veteran lawmen are affected by the domestic violence that they say exploded in this modest house on Daventry Crossing in unincorporated Woodstock. Neighbors say Tenisha and Kelvin Williams seemed cordial from the outside and appeared to get along well with each other. But Sunday night, something obviously went wrong.
The investigation revealed that the suspect attempted to shoot his 16-year-old son, or stepson, and then turned the weapon on his wife, and she was killed. The 16-year-old was not injured.
The captain says all of this unfolded with the couple's 4-year-old son inside the home. They do say an argument preceded the deadly shooting.
It was a family argument that just got out of control, and the father grabbed the weapon, tried to shoot his son, missed his son, and then turned the weapon on his wife and killed her.
Cherokee County deputies say they were not aware of any prior calls to the residence. The two boys, 16 and 4, are in DFACS custody. Deputies have advice for others who might be in a volatile situation.
If you feel threatened, well, we always recommend people call 911. Get out of the house if you have to. Try not to let it get to this point.
Now, suspect Williams is charged with murder, 2 counts of aggravated assault, and cruelty to children. We are live in Cherokee County. Angelique Proctor.
You feel for the family, particularly the children. Angelique, thanks so much.
The jury saw that video. They heard the 911 call. They saw the body camera footage of Williams smoking his cigarette. And they deliberated for exactly 1 hour before returning a verdict of guilty on all 13 counts: malice murder, attempted murder, aggravated assault, cruelty to children. The jury didn't need to debate. The evidence was that clear, that horrifying, that undeniable. March 2026. Superior Court Judge Shannon Wallace looked at Kelvin Williams and described the damage he'd caused as unfathomable. Because how do you measure the cost of what he took? How do you calculate the value of a mother's life, of a childhood destroyed by gunfire, of a 4-year-old who will grow up knowing his father murdered his mother? Judge Wallace made sure Williams would never taste freedom again. Life in prison without parole, plus 100 years, plus 12 months. A sentence designed to outlast him, to ensure that even if some technicality reduced one charge, he would still die behind bars. But the judge did something else too. She issued a permanent no-contact order. Williams is barred forever from communicating with Tenisha's children, their foster mother, or any family members. He cannot write them letters. He cannot call them. He cannot haunt them from prison the way he haunted them in life. During the sentencing, testimony came through the foster mother caring for the boys. We don't know exactly where the 16-year-old survivor and his 4-year-old brother are now, and that's for their safety. But we know they're together. We know they're being cared for, and we know that unlike their mother, they have a chance to heal. I want to leave you with this. Tenisha Williams didn't die because she was weak. She died because she was trapped in a system of control so complete, so suffocating, that even buying the gun that killed her didn't set off alarm bells loud enough to save her. The Bluetooth tracker, the forced isolation, the years of psychological breaking. This is how domestic violence fatalities happen. Not always with a history of 911 calls, not always with bruises, sometimes with a tracker on your wrist and a gun you were forced to load pressed against your head. Tenisha was 48 years old. She was a mother. She was trying to survive, and in the end, she died in her kitchen, executed by a man who believed he owned her, while her teenage son hid in the next room and her baby slept through the gunfire. She deserved to live. She deserved to see her sons grow up. She deserved to take off that tracker and walk away free. And while we can't give her that justice, we can remember her name. Tenisha Williams. This one's for you. If you or someone you know is experiencing domestic violence, please reach out to the National Domestic Violence Hotline, 1-800-799-7233, or text START to 88788. Help is available 24/7. Rest in power, Nisha.